When you truly see it's all temporary, true freedom awakens. Buddhist wisdom. There's a truth you already know, but rarely face. Everything you love is changing. Not someday. Now. In this very breath. The person sitting across from you is aging in real time. The body you woke up in this morning has already shed millions of cells. Even your memories of yesterday are not the same as the ones you'll hold tomorrow. They rewrite themselves each time you recall them. And yet, we live as though time made a promise to us. Tomorrow will come. Next year will unfold as planned. The people we love will still be here. Death, surely, will wait until we're ready. This isn't optimism. It's a kind of quiet agreement with reality. If I don't look at impermanence, maybe it won't look back at me. But in the stillness of night, when everything grows quiet and the mind won't rest, you can feel it. The fragility, the uncertainty, the way everything you hold dear is slowly slipping through your fingers like sand. You've always known this. You just learned how to look away. The Buddha called this anicca, impermanence. In the Dhammapada, he didn't offer comfort or abstract philosophy. He offered something more direct. All conditioned things are impermanent. Whoever sees this clearly with wisdom is freed from suffering. This is the path to purification. Not accept, not believe, see. See it the way you know fire burns or ice cools. See it not as an idea, but as truth revealed through direct experience. Watch a candle flame. It looks steady, doesn't it? A single, constant light. But if you really observe, each flicker is different. Each instant of flame is birth and death happening so quickly that your eyes can't perceive the change. The flame you see now is not the same as the one a moment ago. This is how all things exist, appearing solid while endlessly dissolving, arising and passing so fast that the mind mistakes the flow for stillness. So why do we cling? In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Buddha identified tanha, craving, as the root of suffering. Not desire itself, but the attempt to make the impermanent permanent, to hold on to what cannot be held. Like a child building a sandcastle as the tide moves in. The child knows the waves will come, always has, yet still builds, still hopes somehow that this time will be different. When you truly witness this, not think about it, not analyze it, but see it, something inside begins to shift. Not because the truth has changed, but because you've stopped pretending it hasn't. In that moment of clear seeing, nibbida arises, often translated as disenchantment, but it isn't disappointment. It's awakening. It's the quiet relief of putting down a burden you didn't realize you'd been carrying. The door to freedom doesn't open because you found a secret key. It opens because you finally stopped trying to lock it. The space between craving and freedom. That moment of nibbida, the disenchantment we spoke of, doesn't deliver you to freedom all at once. It opens a door, yes, but what lies beyond is unfamiliar. You find yourself in a space between the old compulsions have loosened, but a new ground hasn't yet taken shape beneath your feet. You're no longer where you were, but not yet where you're going. In the Anicca-sanya Sutta, the Buddha describes this space not as confusion, but as cultivation, a practice of steady, deliberate seeing. It's not a single flash of insight that transforms everything overnight. It's a process, a slow unfolding, a quiet fire that begins with a single spark and gradually spreads through all that's false. Think about what happens when you see through a craving that once shaped your life. Perhaps it was the need for approval, or control, or a sense of safety. When you clearly recognize that even getting what you want won't bring lasting peace, that the object of your desire is itself impermanent, something softens. The urgency fades. But here's the unsettling part. You may not know what to do next. The old motivation has lost its pull, but a new way forward hasn't yet revealed itself. This is where many people become anxious. The narrative you've carried, about who you are and what you need, starts to fall away. Goals that once seemed vital now feel arbitrary. Worries that once consumed you begin to lose their weight. And in this loosening, something personal begins to dissolve. It can feel like you're losing yourself. And in a way, you are. The self built around those cravings is beginning to unravel. What remains? The Buddha's response, found in the Upanisa Sutta, offers quiet clarity. This unfolding follows a natural sequence. From clear seeing arises disenchantment. From disenchantment comes viraga, the gentle cooling of grasping. And from that cooling, vimutti, liberation. Each step unfolds from the last, not through force, but through continued attention. But this space in between, the quiet ground between craving and freedom, is not something to escape. You can't skip ahead. You can't bypass the discomfort of no longer knowing who you are without your cravings. This is where the real practice begins. Learning to stay present without filling the space with new distractions, new identities, or new stories. And something starts to shift. Your attention changes. Before, when you looked at something beautiful, a sunset, a familiar voice, a moving piece of music, there was often a subtle tightening, the desire to hold it, to keep it, to stretch the moment a little longer. But as craving loosens, so does that clench. You begin to experience beauty without needing to possess it, joy without needing to prolong it, connection without needing to claim it. The Buddha described this state as being in the world, but not entangled by it, fully engaged, yet inwardly free, caring deeply, but without the desperation that turns care into suffering. This isn't coldness. It's the end of burning. And here's the quiet paradox. You don't become less alive in this space. You become more alive. Because you're no longer using your energy to resist life's flow. You're no longer exhausting yourself trying to hold back what is always moving. When that struggle ends, what remains is something simple and clear, a natural responsiveness that doesn't need craving to guide it. The space between craving and freedom is not a problem to fix. It's a place to live, a training ground for clarity and trust. And the only way through it is to stay present, to be with the uncertainty, the tenderness, the slow dissolving of what no longer serves you. This is the path, not the destination, but the walking itself. Freedom isn't what you think. Most of us grow up believing that freedom means having choices, the ability to do what we want, when we want, how we want. More money promises more options. More power offers more control. More security gives the illusion of certainty. But the Buddha pointed to a very different kind of freedom. Not the fulfillment of desire, but the release from the grip of desire itself. Not getting what you want, but being free from the endless hunger that no achievement can ever satisfy. This is why impermanence, when truly seen, doesn't lead to despair. It leads to presence. Imagine listening to your favorite piece of music. If you tried to hold on to a single note, refusing to let it end so the next one could come, you'd destroy the song. Its beauty lies in movement. One note rises, lingers, and fades, making space for the next. Life is like that. Each moment is a note that appears and passes, and the symphony continues because none of it stays. And here's what we often overlook. The beauty isn't in spite of the fading. It is the fading. The depth, the tenderness, the intensity of being alive arises from knowing it won't last. When you really understand this, you stop trying to capture the moment and begin to live it. You stop taking a photo of the sunset and begin to actually see it. You stop planning what to say and start truly listening. People often ask, if everything is impermanent, why love? Why care? Why commit? And the answer is simple, yet quietly transformative. Because everything is impermanent, not in spite of it. If someone you love could never change, never grow old, never leave, love would lose its depth. It would become possession. But that's not how life works. Sit with someone you love and really look, not just with your eyes, but with awareness. Notice how time moves through them, the way they speak, smile, breathe, each moment slightly different from the last. And that's what makes it precious. Every encounter is unrepeatable. The Buddha taught metta, loving kindness without condition, a form of care that doesn't cling or demand. Not love that tries to hold on, but love that flows freely because it knows it can't hold anything forever. Alongside this, he taught upekkha, equanimity, one of the 4 sublime qualities. It's often misunderstood as detachment, but it's not indifference. It's the steadiness that allows you to care deeply without being consumed. It's the strength to stay open, even when you know everything is passing. When you truly witness impermanence, you don't become cold. You become tender, not in a fragile way, but in a wise way. When you know that everything is temporary, you hold it with more care. A flower is more beautiful because you know it will wilt. A conversation means more because it will never be repeated in exactly the same way. A single breath becomes a gift because it's not guaranteed. This isn't pessimism. It's clear seeing. And that kind of seeing changes how you move through the world. You become gentler, more respectful of life in all its forms, because you see how fleeting it all is and how much that matters. The Buddha also taught paticca-samuppada, dependent origination. Nothing exists in isolation. A flower is not just a flower. It is the sun, the soil, the rain, the bee that pollinated it, and the hand that planted it. Everything is made of everything else. When you look deeply into anything, you begin to see its conditions, its causes, its relationships, its impermanence. And this insight begins to shift how you see yourself. You are not a fixed, separate self. You are a temporary coming together of many conditions: body, breath, memory, experience. And when you see this clearly, fear begins to soften. Because what is there to defend? The boundaries you thought were solid turn out to be temporary too. Useful, but not ultimate. Practice. Seeing impermanence in daily life. The Upanisa Sutta makes something quietly clear. Liberation isn't granted by belief or good intentions. It unfolds through practice, through living and cultivating the entire noble eightfold path. You can't simply think your way to freedom. You have to see your way there. Each day, take a little time to be still. Just sit and observe what's happening, directly and gently. Watch the breath, not your breath, just breath. Coming in, going out. Never exactly the same. Listen to sounds as they rise and fall. A passing car, a bird's call. Feel sensations in the body. Pressure, warmth, tingling, ache. All changing. All revealing their impermanent nature. And thoughts. Watch them like clouds drifting through an open sky. You didn't invite them. You can't stop them. They come, they move, they dissolve. The Buddha taught anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, not as a way to relax, but as a path of deep insight. In the Anapanasati Sutta, he outlined 16 steps of practice. The final ones include contemplating impermanence, fading away, cessation, and letting go, all through observing the breath. You don't have to believe anything. You don't even have to agree with it. Just look for yourself. Is there anything that isn't changing? Mountains erode, stars burn out. Even diamonds over time return to dust. And if everything is already changing, if that's not up for negotiation, then what are we protecting? What is it we're afraid of losing that could ever truly be held? In many traditions, practitioners reflect on death, not as something grim, but as something deeply clarifying. In the Maranasati Sutta, the Buddha taught mindfulness of death. He even encouraged monks to practice it with every breath. This reflection isn't meant to stir fear. It's meant to awaken presence. It asks simple, honest questions. Did I live today with intention? Did I waste it? If this were my last day, would I be at peace? This isn't to create pressure. It's to help us stop waiting, to return to what truly matters. What are you still postponing? What's left unsaid? Who have you not forgiven? Not because tomorrow isn't guaranteed, but because this moment is the only one you can truly touch. Gratitude becomes a form of practice, a way of seeing impermanence as a gift. When you drink tea, slow down. Feel the warmth in your hands, the steam rising and vanishing, the taste changing as the tea cools. Each sip is different. When you embrace someone, be there fully, their breath, their warmth, the pressure of their arms. This exact constellation of sensations will never appear again. And when difficult emotions show up, anger, fear, grief, shame, this is where the practice deepens. You don't have to push them away, but you don't have to indulge them either. Just watch, like you'd watch weather. Where do you feel it? How does it shift moment to moment? Is it steady, or does it move, pulse, soften? You may discover something surprising. That anger you thought was one solid thing is actually many shifting parts. Tightness in the jaw, heat in the chest, a looping thought in the mind. And all of it is changing. When you begin to witness these states clearly, not as who you are, but as passing experiences, they begin to lose their power. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the space in which these pass through. And that space is wide, still, steady, even when everything around it moves. Freedom isn't something far away, waiting at the end of years of effort. It's something that arises naturally when you begin to witness clearly. Right now. When you loosen the grip of clinging, right now. It takes only one breath. This breath. And the willingness to meet it fully. Coming in, here, and gone. The Buddha never promised to lift you out of a changing world. He offered something more honest and more profound. A path to freedom within it. To move with impermanence rather than resist it. To love what's here while it's here, and to let it go when it's gone. This path doesn't take you somewhere else. It brings you back to where you've always been, here, now, alive, aware, not free from change, but free in the midst of it. And in that space, you begin to understand what the Buddha meant all along, that seeing clearly with wisdom is the path to purification, that the end of suffering isn't hidden in some distant future, it's right here, in this moment, waiting for you to stop running and turn gently toward the truth that's always been here.